If you are somebody who is often worried about having or getting a disease, then this video is for you. My name is Brittany and I'm a therapist and I treat people with all types of anxiety. And health anxiety specifically is something that I specialize in and love working with. I also have a personal history with it. When we have health anxiety, when we have an excessive fear about developing or contracting a disease, there's more that's happening behind the scenes than we often realize. So I'm going to give you a picture of what we call the vicious cycle of health anxiety. And I'm going to just kind of briefly go over all this. So when we have excessive health anxiety, we often have what are called core beliefs, which are beliefs that are central to us and our understanding of the world. We have these problematic core beliefs about health and illness that are sort of operating behind the scenes and are kind of driving the way we interpret everything that happens around us. And so we hold these beliefs, and then because we hold these beliefs, like for example, your belief might be, I must be 100% certain that I don't have a disease or I am unsafe. Or I must be 100% certain of the origin of this bodily sensation or symptom in order to be safe. And there's many different examples of different types of problematic core beliefs, and we will go into those in detail in another video. But just know that there are these beliefs that are sort of driving, everything that's happening and how you're interpreting your body, sensations and symptoms, and the things that happen around you. And side note, this is true regardless of whether you have health anxiety or not. We all have these core beliefs that fuel our fears and are sort of the lens with which we interpret everything that happens around us. Because you have these core beliefs about health and illness, these problematic core beliefs, you pay selective attention to potential health threats. So these could be health threats that you see, whether like noticing them on social media or in your social circles or a news article that comes up on your phone. And so it could be external or it could be internal. It could be just bodily sensations and symptoms. So again, because you hold these beliefs, you're more likely to notice and pay selective attention to anything that seems threatening when it comes to health-related topics. And as a part of that, we tend to engage in what is called body vigilance. And that is when you're hyper-focused on your body, looking for symptoms, noticing bodily sensations or any changes in your body. When you engage in this body vigilance, whether it's through scanning your body or just hyper-aware of any sensations, you tend to notice more health threat triggers. So you're more likely to notice something that seems like off or that seems dangerous. And so then you interpret those triggers, those health threat triggers, right? Like whether it's a weird bodily sensation, a new symptom, or even something that you read in the news, like an external trigger, you tend to interpret those triggers in a catastrophic way. So we engage in what are called cognitive distortions, and there are many different types of cognitive distortions. Examples might be catastrophizing, so you think the absolute worst case scenario is happening with your health or will happen when it comes to your health. You might jump to conclusions, so with very little data or a small piece of evidence, you then jump to conclusions about what that symptom means or what that article means or that other person's health situation means for you. So again, you interpret those triggers in a catastrophic way. You engage in these different distortions. And then, of course, because you now have basically concluded that some catastrophe is happening with your health or will happen with your health, you then experience a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. I mean, naturally, right? Like anybody who's going to come to those catastrophic conclusions is then going to be anxious about the fact that they think they're dying. And then from there, because you now feel a lot more anxiety and uncertainty, you then engage in a whole bunch of different problematic behaviors to try to alleviate that anxiety and to address the uncertainty as a way to feel safe again, of course. So examples of problematic behaviors are, either safety behaviors or avoidance. Safety behaviors are the things we do to reduce our anxiety in the moment. So when it comes to health-related situations and health anxiety, safety behaviors might look like, excessive body checking. So checking your body maybe double checking a symptom 7 times in one day. Maybe the mole looked a little different that day, or that morning when you woke up. So then for the rest of the day, you're obsessively like checking, taking pictures, zooming in, double checking that symptom. And you're doing it because you want to feel like everything's okay again, right? So it makes sense why you're doing it, because you have all that anxiety. You want to reduce the anxiety. But the problem is those safety behaviors only make matters worse over the long term. And so other examples of safety behaviors with health anxiety are reassurance seeking, right? So you might go to the doctor a lot to check various symptoms, go to urgent care, go to the emergency room, go ask your loved ones, do you think this is a problem? Do you think this is a tumor? Do you think this is da-da-da-da-da? And so you do all these things, again, to try to feel safe, right? You might also seek reassurance from the internet. So you might Google symptoms. I mean, we all know that happens with health anxiety, right? You might Google symptoms. Nowadays, you might use ChatGPT every 5 minutes to be reassured that everything's okay. And all of these things are safety behaviors. And avoidance is another example where you either use cognitive avoidance, you're avoiding the thing that makes you feel anxious by numbing out or just thinking of something else, or you might avoid doctors. And so both avoidance and safety behaviors are problematic behaviors that, while they might reduce anxiety in the short term, over time they increase anxiety, and that's because you become dependent on them. You think you need them to feel safe, and they reinforce distorted beliefs over time. So back to the cycle. So now you're using the safety behaviors, right? And what does this do? Well, again, it only reinforces those problematic beliefs about health and illness. And then now you're back to square one, and you start to just go around and around this cycle. And, it might be different. It might look a little different depending on what the health threat trigger was. But you go around and around this cycle over and over and over, and it's just absolutely exhausting. So that's what the vicious cycle of health anxiety looks like. If you want to dive deeper into this, I'll provide the link to my free guide below, which is a free guide to getting started on working on your health anxiety.